Hey, good morning, everybody. It's the first real work day of 2020. It's Monday, January 6th. We're here with our first episode of Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia for 2020. As my brother Jeff said, he hopes everybody gets 2020 vision in 2020 and we get a little peace. So a little shout out to my brother Jeff in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We're here today with our first guest of the year, Cathy Pales, and we'll have Cathy introduce herself in a moment. I'm Cecilia Supp. I am the founder and principal of Rogue Tulips LLC, which is also our sponsor for Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia. And I'm here with my co-host, friend, and colleague, Agnes. I'm going to throw it over to Agnes and let her say hello and introduce herself.
Great. Thank you, Cecilia. And good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to our global audience, wherever you're watching from. My name is Agnes Amos Coleman. I'm an author and a consultant with Rogue Tulip. Over to you, Cathy.
Well, good morning. Happy New Year to both of you, Cecilia and Agnes, and everyone who's watching. And thank you for reminding us that we have a global audience. So the brief comments I'll make today are certainly can be applied globally. Again, I'm Cathy Pales. I'm the owner of Take a Breath Coaching. I specialize in working with women, association executives, and women who lead other nonprofit organizations to help them increase their influence so that they can transform their organizations. So I will try to make my comments more universal to both men and women. If I fall into the trap of talking more about women, Cecilia and Agnes will catch me, and we'll make sure my comments are universal. And this is certainly a universal topic today, the keys to professional confidence. And I'm always been fascinated by this topic because this is something in my one-on-one coaching is one of the most, the topics that come up most frequently with my clients is how do I improve my confidence? Mm-hmm. And it always makes me too a little sad because all my clients are women. And a big reason I got into leadership coaching is I witnessed really smart, capable, amazing women doubting their ability and holding themselves back from the career success I know they could have and the leadership success I know they could have because of a lack of confidence. Mm-hmm. And certainly men, go ahead. Yeah.
You have a question? Can I interject here for a second?
Please.
No, this is great. So, our topic is the keys to professional confidence. So do you have a list of like, what are these keys? Like, do you have like 3 to 5 keys to professional confidence?
Excuse me. I'm getting over a cold, so I apologize for coughing.
I had the thing that's going around too. So
the creeping cry that's going around, at least here in Virginia.
Whatever it is, yeah.
Yeah, so I apologize for coughing. I'll try not to. Actually, it's 2. It's 2 keys. So I did a lot of research. I found the resource I'll speak most from is a book called The Confidence Code by Claire Shipman and Cathy Pales, who are both journalists. And the book does focus primarily on women, but there are comments that are important for men as well, and I can certainly talk about that. So as journalists, they approach the topic by interviewing all of the leading researchers in the area who do academic research in the area of confidence and how we can help people become more confident. And they also interviewed impressive women, because the book again is focused primarily on women from all over the world. So it's women who, including one of the women they interviewed is the president of Liberia. So they went all over the world to interview highly successful, impressive women leaders to find out what are the commonalities and what they're experiencing. And what they learned, both through the research and through the interviews, is that confidence has to do with 2 things: authenticity and taking action. And the authenticity piece is having the courage, basically, to show up, present yourself in a way that is who you are, warts and all. So it's a term that I use a lot in my coaching is leadership presence. Mm-hmm. And when we think about people who we feel like have strong leadership presence, authenticity is a key component to that. We feel like we can trust them because they present themselves in a way that's real.
Mhm.
They're not afraid to say, hey, this is what I'm good at. This is what I know. They're equally not afraid to say, I'm not good at this. This is something I'm not so knowledgeable about. And and it takes courage to present yourself in a way that is real. So that's key number one. Key number two is taking action. And this was actually the biggest difference that Cathy and Claire found in their review of the literature, of the research literature, is that men are willing to take more risks than women. One of the biggest examples of that is in how we apply for jobs. Men are much more likely to apply for a job that they only feel 25% qualified for. Women tend not to apply for a job unless we feel 100% qualified. And when they also talk about women asking for raises and things like that, but that is the biggest difference they found, is that women were much less likely to take risks and to be concerned about looking foolish or making a mistake.
Okay, so Cathy,
please stop me.
So
you're gonna have to stop me because I'll talk all day.
Well, and it's a great topic though. But so you say it's authenticity and taking action.
Yeah.
So what do you think holds women back? Because, I think anybody who knows me even a little bit knows I kind of do both those things sometimes to the extreme. Like I have, and I have like no problem asking people for money. Like, give me a raise, give me money, support a cause, share time. So I struggle with understanding why other women don't do that. So what do you think holds women back from those things?
That's a great question. And what we found in the literature and the research, it's primarily due to socialization. There are, and this is a controversial area to get into, and I won't get into it. There is some research about differences between men and women's brains. The important thing to mention is that if you look at MRIs of two brains, you cannot tell the difference between a male brain and a female brain. So men and women have the same brains. Okay, so there's nothing inherently structurally different between a female brain and a male brain. Okay, there is some evidence, and it's primarily also due to socialization, is that women, we tend to be more sensitive to what other people think and what other people think about us than men do. And so what goes to the risk taking is a fear, and certainly men have this fear too, fear of failure, fear of making a mistake, fear of looking foolish. That what we find is that women tend to have a heightened sense of that than men do. Men aren't as much afraid of looking foolish. Which I won't go in to give examples. But that seems to not be as big a challenge for them. Now, men certainly suffer from lack of confidence.
Right.
It just shows up differently with men.
Right.
Than it does with women. With women, it shows up with not willing to take risks. With men, it tends to show up as arrogance or a sense of bravado, or sometimes men will mask their lack of confidence with humor.
Right.
They're the class clown, right? So it shows up differently with men. Go ahead.
I'd like to get Agnes's take on this, because Agnes has had a long career, successful career, and she's lived in a lot of different parts of the world. She's originally from outside the United States and now lives here with us, thank goodness. But she's also worked like in London and Iceland and different parts of the world. So, Agnes, I think you have like a broad view of what it's like to be a woman executive around the world.
Sure. Well, thank you, Cecilia, for that introduction. And yes, I do. I actually find it very fascinating, a lot of some of the thought process that Cathy is sharing. And whether you're a male or female, I think we both, each of this group overcompensate in different areas to show for their leadership skills or their lack of. And it's not because they don't have it. I think it's just the way that we relate to individuals and the business environment that we operate in. But the key here for me is, I think for both male and female in leadership, I think we both have values and obviously not just the values, but, you know, a lot of things that we bring to the table as leadership. And it's just how we get it across. And I think that that's where and I have to take it from a broader spectrum here, not just male and female, but how we both can really influence our, you know, our environment as leaders. And the ways that we can do that is that authenticity and that, you know, and I like to call it more leading with your heart and leading as you are, as an individual, as a person, knowing that the people that you're leading are looking and being the right example. And if we can showcase, go ahead, Cecilia.
No, I'm sorry. Finish your thought, please.
Yes, I was going to say that, you know, a successful leader, whether you're a male or female, where you become real is leading with that passion and leading with example, and people looking at you as that leader, that not only you're just saying what you're saying, but you're also leading and people can see that. And for me, I think that if you can just lead with that, you know, passion, with that example, I think everything else will follow. We all have confidence issues. We're not all perfect. We're not all going to make the decisions that we want to make. We always look back and say, I could have done better, whether we're male or female. And those are the things that we can overcome. But be that authentic person, be who you are, and lead with that example that people can follow, not say one thing and do the other, I think.
Right. Yeah, and I agree. So Cathy, I want to, we have about 5 minutes left. So I want to ask you what can be kind of a tough question. One of the problems with socialization is that men and other women are socialized that we're supposed to be submissive, we're supposed to cast our eyes down, we're not supposed to speak our mind, we're not supposed to ask for money, we're supposed to like be sensitive to other people's needs, etc. So what do you do if you're a woman who presents herself as a professional, who takes action and is authentic, and then is told, which happened to me last fall, that you're scary and intimidating?
Right. Yeah.
So,
No, that's a tricky question. And actually in Claire and Kitty's books, they talk about this catch-22, if you will, that one of the keys to feeling more confident is being willing to take risks and make mistakes and try new things. And if it's in the right environment, if you've been someone who has been less hesitant or more hesitant to not speak up at meetings, and you realize, I need to start speaking up more at meetings. I want to start speaking up more at meetings. You start taking more risks, and then you're criticized for doing that.
right.
There's no easy answer for that. And unfortunately, the research also tells us is that if as people are asked about leadership, that women are still challenged. And we're certainly seeing this in the presidential election, or gearing up for the presidential election here in the United States, that women are still having difficulties being seen in the role of president, because we all have this view. We're all socialized to have this view of what a president should look like and act like. And unfortunately, it's not someone wearing a skirt, or is someone who's a woman at this point. And so women, and this is true for people of color as well, at least in the United States or North America, the standard when we think of leader, and we're not even aware of it, that we're doing it most of the time, we think of white men, heterosexual. We think of white heterosexual men as leader, and definition of leader. And the further you are away from that standard, the more challenges you're going to have. So what I tell my clients is we can't change, unfortunately, can't change that reality. The best we can do is keep showing up as who we are. Are there some people, are we going to encounter some people who aren't going to, like what happened to you, Cecilia? I'm so sorry that happened. But so what we need to do is we need to be who we are and find people who are our allies. And the more that we show up as who we are, warts and all, and being willing to take those risks, more and more people will start viewing us as true leaders. We just have to keep showing up and
Well,
just being aware that unfortunately we are going to sometimes face those folks who don't accept us in the role.
right. And, and I think that's great. Thank you for saying that nice thing, but it's like, I have come to accept it's really not me, it's the other person.
Exactly.
It's like, I am not scary and intimidating. I told Scott Morris, who had been our guest host, about that comment, and he said, "What? I just think you're professional." So Scott's obviously a very enlightened, evolved male. Hey Scott, we're giving you another shout out here. So Cathy, it's time for us to wrap up. I mean, we could probably go on another 4 hours on this topic, and we'll definitely.
We don't want to do that.
Well, no, actually, I think women do need to talk about this. One of the things is where Agnes and I used to work together a couple years ago. One of the other women on staff said to me, "You're not like other women bosses I've had." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "You actually kind of mentor us and help us." Whereas like other women bosses hold people back. And I'm like, well, that's because I consider myself a professional. Right. Not a woman.
Right.
I'm not a woman professional, I'm a professional. And professionals help each other. So that would be another topic to have you come back for, Cathy, is talk about how women can help each other. So Cathy, just real quick, what is like a 1 or 2 sentence takeaway you'd like our audience to have today?
Right. The saying about fake it till you make it it's a myth. Okay. It's not faking it till you make it, because that's not genuine. It's what I would say is figure out, really get in tune with who you are at your best. All right. Figure out your purpose or your values, figure out your strengths, figure out how you can align those two things. Because to me, that's what leadership presence is all about, is being attunely aware of what your purpose is, what's meaningful for you, your values, those things that you want that embody who you are. And you're using your power, your strengths, your talents, your gifts, your experience, and that those things are in alignment. And that's the key to presence. That's the key to authenticity, is when I meet you, I get the sense that you're real, that what you're telling me, that you walk the walk, right? What you tell me that I value X, I see it in your actions. You don't just say it. Okay. So that's step number 1. And 2 is something that we all can do every day, is do one thing every day that scares you. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be that phone call, that difficult conversation you've been meaning to have with someone that you've been avoiding. It could be sending an email to someone that you don't want to send. Just something, or I don't mean it to be negative, something positive. It could be reaching out to a potential new client that you've been, it's asking for that raise. It doesn't have to be a big deal, but something every day that scares you even just a little bit. And that helps. It's a muscle. And the more you exercise that muscle, the easier it gets.
Well, so Cathy, can you share your website in case our audience wants to?
Sure. My website is takeabreathcoaching.com. And if I could, I have a free resource on my website called Increase Your Influence in 30 Days. It's a daily self-coaching guide that anyone who visits my website can download for absolutely no cost or strings or commitment or anything. And I won't put you on an email list that I'm going to email to you incessantly without your permission. So no worries there. I know people are always worried about that. I don't want to give you my email address because you're going to start emailing me. I promise I'm not going to do that. So I want you to enjoy the resource. So
well, that's a great resource. Thanks for sharing that. And
you're welcome.
We need to wrap up today. I want to thank Cathy again for joining us for the talk. I want to thank Agnes for her usual excellent insights on every topic we do.
Absolutely.
Thanks everybody for joining us. Again, we are sponsored by Rogue Tulips LLC. You can learn more about our consulting consortium at roguetulips.com. We're also supporters of the 501c League, a virtual membership organization for everyone in the 501c community and the people who love them. So you can check out the league at the 501cleague.net. Again, I'm Cecilia Supp, signing off here on behalf of Agnes Amos Coleman and Cathy Pales, and we'll be back next week. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.